Welcome to the Lead Pedal Podcast with your host Bruce Outridge, where he talks all things trucking. Now let's get rolling.
Hello, welcome to the Lead Pedal Podcast. I'm your host, Bruce Outridge. This is episode number 995, and today we're going to be talking with Mike Millian of the PMTC, the Private Motor Truck Council. Tell you all about his conference and catch up to date on what's going on. Stay tuned. Hey folks, are you an owner-operator looking for a place to call home? Well, Rims Transport is based out of Hamilton, Ontario, and that's right, they are a place, owner-operator fleet only. They run flatbed out of Hamilton, and they don't run much more than 500 to 700 mile radius. So if you're looking for a place that you can get back home on a regular basis, you can get good miles, they have a great culture for owner-operators, and they want you to succeed, then Rims Transport's the place to do that. Where can you learn more? Go to rimstransport.com. Make sure you tell them that the Lead Pedal Podcast sent you, and we want you to be successful. We know them personally over there, and we know they're going to take good care of you. You got open board, you've got tandem US, you got multi-axle US, you got city, you got all kinds of positions available there, all owner-operator fleet. So if you want to be successful for 2023 and beyond, then get on with Rims Transport and tell them we sent you. All right, everybody, talk to you later. Go to rimstransport.com. All right, so Mike's been on the show many times. Mike is the president of the Private Motor Truck Council of Canada, which is an organization that works with all of what we call the private fleets, the people like a Coca-Cola or Home Hardware or somebody that actually hauls their own goods. I've worked for a couple private fleets in my career, and I got to say it's kind of the premium job to have as a truck driver, so it certainly is a good place to go and work. Anyhow, Mike has been part of that for quite a while, and every year they have an annual conference. This year it's in Hamilton, Ontario. But Mike is also very up to date on regulations. That's his job, is to make sure his membership is informed of changes in the industry. For most private fleets, their primary job isn't trucking. It's normally whatever their product is. The trucking is just a service to their clientele. So a lot of times they need to keep up to date on what's going on, whereas for hire carrier may be always involved with the regulations because of the nature of their business, which is just trucking. The other ones, there's usually other things on the side that is also taking their attention. So that's what the private fleet does. The Private Motor Truck Council does. They make sure that their membership keeps up to date on changes, keeps up to date on what's going on in the industry, gives them some education to make their fleets better, and of course has a whole bunch of other services available, such as awards and all of that to make them enjoy the membership. One of the premium events all year is the annual conference. We've been a part of many of them, and they're always a good time. And we're going to find out all about that today. We're going to find out what's going on in the industry with Mike, and then we're going to find out about the conference. And he wasn't crying for this one that the Leafs lost. He's a big Leafs fan, but we had a really good time. All right, here we go. Let's get on with it with Mr. Mike Millian of the Private Motor Truck Council. Hey folks, in today's economy, it's what you keep in your pocket that's important, and that means your taxes as well. And you know what? I want to tell you about RS 2000 Tax Services. They specialize in the trucking industry. That's right, whether you're an owner-operator, a carrier, a truck driver, it doesn't matter. They can help you because they understand the importance of you being on the road and the kind of things that you're going to come up against, and so they can help you. And I got to tell you, they are extremely proud of the service they provide because they provide it to most of Ontario. They're available 7 days a week, 12 months of the year. That's right. The people that are going to be dealing with you are going to be at your home, at your business, wherever you need them to come to, because they understand that you're traveling. You don't have time to go and drive somewhere else on a weekend. You've only got a certain amount of time to be with your family. So they come to you. You can ask them questions anytime at 1-800-304-3986. And they operate Monday to Friday, 8:30 a.m. to 5 p.m. Although they're consultants and accountants that deal with you, work with your schedule, so you will be available there. If you want to give them a call, again, tell them that the Lead Pedal Podcast sent you at 1-800-304-3986, or you can visit their website at rs2000tax.com. They're in Komoka, Ontario, but they don't want you to go there. That's why they come to you. Who can find Komoka? Anyway, we've been dealing with them for a while. They've been in business since 1994, and I can tell you, we've had them here on the podcast many times talking about their services, so you can go and listen to any of those episodes if you want to hear what they have to say. But they have been around for a long time. They specialize in trucking, and better off, they specialize in you. Give them a call at 1-800-304-3986 or visit them at rs2000tax.com. Make sure you tell them we sent you. All right, everybody on the line, I've got Mike Millian. How are we doing today, Mike?
Feeling good. How are you, Bruce?
Good. We were just talking off air that you were down in Florida, but why? Does PMTC go across border? I didn't realize that.
No, so we generally only go to one event a year in the U.S., and there's an association in the U.S. called the National Private Truck Council.
Yep.
So the NPTC, and they represent private and dedicated fleets in the United States.
Okay.
And we work together with them. They, anytime their members have questions based on Canadian regs, they will send their members my way.
Right.
Anytime we have Canadian members who have questions on U.S. regs, if we don't have the answer, we send them their way. We have a good partnership with them. Tom Moore does the Canadian benchmarking survey every year. He actually is employed by the NPTC and does their benchmarking survey as well. They invite myself and my chair down to their conference every year.
Oh, nice.
And we invite them up to our conference every year. And
that's cool.
If any of their members are moving operations into Canada, they'll encourage them to join us and vice versa. So it's they give us information on U.S. regs, it goes into our news briefs, that sort of thing. So it's just a good partnership that we have with their organization. It helps our members out and it helps their members.
What percentage of fleets would you have going to the States? I'm thinking of all the fleets that I know of, the Home Hardware, Tim Hortons, all those. I don't know any of that would cross border. Is there? Yeah,
so it's about 15% of our actual membership crosses border. 15 to 20%. It fluctuates. You have to remember we do have some for hire fleets in our membership as well.
Okay.
And we do have some private fleets across border. But what you see a lot, as an example, is I'll use Coca-Cola as an example. They're a member of the U.S. side. They're a member of the Canadian side.
Right.
PepsiCo Frito-Lay is a member of the U.S. side, a member on the Canadian side. So they have a U.S. fleet that stays in the U.S. They have a Canadian fleet that stays in Canada. But then sometimes they're common carriers that bring stuff in and out, do cross the border. So there's two distinct fleets in a lot of cases, one on each side of the border. So that's why we're not really in competition with the NPTC. Like if Coke's a member in Canada, they're probably also a member of the NPTC in the States because they have distinct fleets on both sides.
Yeah, our fleet was the same way at Nalco. We had a larger fleet in the States, a lot more trucks, and then smaller fleets here in Canada. We didn't cross border; we did cross information, which is always good there. What's hot topics in transportation? There's always hot topics. What for private fleets? What is it nowadays, or what are you going to be focusing on maybe for your conference?
Well, for our conference, we've got a whole bunch of different things. We've got 11 seminars over 2 days, as well as our annual general meeting on the 21st of June, which will actually bring in a 12th topic. So some of the stuff we're covering, a legal update is, I know, Bruce, you've been to it before, but Heather Devine, who now works for Traffics,
right?
She's been providing the top 10 legal updates to our membership probably for 7 years. And she's the highest rated seminar we have every year. So she'll be coming back and providing that to our members. Benchmarking survey we do every year, sponsored by OTDS. So it'll be getting presented by NPTC. Labor, obviously, is always a big issue. We have Pina Melchiona from the CITT is going to be doing a presentation on the navigating the employee-driven labor market. Fatigue impairment within motor carriers is being presented by JJ Keller.
Right.
Of course, we'll have our exhibitor showcase, our awards, CPC Logistics sponsors our Hall of Fame for professional drivers. I do know how to speak, trust me, just couldn't spit that one out. They also sponsor the Rick Austin Memorial Dispatcher of the Year Award. That's at lunch on day one. I would say, you hate to pick a favorite award, but being a former driver, and still having a lot of respect for drivers. The Hall of Fame for drivers, where we induct up to 4 drivers, is by far my favorite. Just because they're the backbone of our industry, right? And a lot of times I will tell you, this isn't an uncommon occurrence. We had one company, and I won't say their name, wanted to submit a driver this year who had 40 years of safe driving, and he refused to be nominated. Didn't want to be recognized. Just does his job, and that's happened before.
Yeah.
Some of these guys and gals don't want the spotlight. So, but they deserve it. So I'm glad when they do accept it, we can give them the honor that they deserve.
Yeah, that's one of my presentations as well. And I always like when you guys do the videos that you've asked them to do, because you learn a lot about them and you go, wow, like, because a lot of them you just think, yeah, they're just drivers going up and down the road, but they've got a lot of good in their community that they're doing.
Yeah, and I stole that idea from our partners to the south, NPTC, who actually interviews them and has it come up. But yeah, like you said, it adds a personal touch to it. And a lot of times these guys don't want to say thank you in a few words in front of 250 or 300 people. But so the video makes it a little easier and still gets that recognition. So
no, I that one for sure.
And we also have the 10 Street Young Leaders Group Education Bursary Awards that we'll be presenting. We give out 2 education bursaries, one to a Mohawk supply chain student who's part of a program that the PMTC started last year.
Yep.
One to a regular member. Then we're going to have another presentation on general leadership, past, present, and future. Economical driving, how it translates to a safer fleet. Yep. Part of our chairman's supper, we have the driver training scholarship, which gives out a $10,000 training bursary for somebody to get their AZ license, MELT approved, TTSAO approved program sponsored through KRTS. PMTC Aviva Safest Private Canadian Fleet Awards will also be presented as part of that supper, and that's on the Thursday. On the Friday, which is a half day, we have the 3M Graphics Awards to kick things off Friday morning. Transport Canada Director General will be in attendance to provide an update on federal initiatives. We're also going to have a panel, and this is a big topic for everybody, is alternative fuel vehicles. So planning and deploying renewable natural gas, hydrogen, and electrification to attain fleet emissions. So in this panel, we're not just going to talk about one option. We're going to talk about the different alternative fuel vehicle options. Yeah. ELDs, we can't have a conference without talking about ELDs. So we have
we not that down
what's that?
We not got that down yet. I mean,
well, we finally have the regs. So now we're going to go beyond ELD data with Northern Business Intelligence to, and they call it with Fiona, the fleet manager. So kind of to discuss what you do with the data that you get besides just ELDs. And then we're going to wrap things up with load securement in Canada and harmonization with the U.S. And one thing I forgot to mention, well, 2 things. Our annual general meeting for members is on June 21st at 3:30. And then at 5 o'clock, we have the opening cocktail reception that is sponsored by Truck-Right. Sorry. Cocktail reception. We call it the Private Motor Truck Council Young Leaders Group Cocktail Reception from 5 to 7, sponsored by Truck-Right. And that involves snacks and thanks to the sponsorship of Truck-Right, some free alcoholic beverages, which we all like when we're mingling with our sponsors.
That's right.
And we will have 50 exhibitors in attendance. We sold out of exhibitor space back in February.
Wow.
Sponsorships are still available, but all 50 booth spaces have been spoken for. So
wow.
I'm not sure if that's more in depth than what you wanted, Bruce, but that's pretty much a full rundown of what's happening from the 21st to the 23rd.
Oh, that's good.
At the Hamilton Convention Center for a conference.
Yeah. Well, yeah. Why'd you move to Hamilton? Was it just a matter of location? Because you've always been primarily in Niagara, and I know you're up in kind of North Toronto. It's where you kind of started.
Yeah. So, I mean, through the years, it's always kind of been in the greater Toronto area, I guess we'll say. It used to be in Niagara Lake. King City, north of Toronto, like you said. Then we were in Niagara Falls for a few years, and it was basically just space, Bruce. With the hotel we were using in Niagara Falls, we were capped out at 40 exhibitors and 225 attendees.
Wow.
We had 257 last year. which is obviously over the 225 cap. And you may say, how do you do that? Well, as you know, with these things, that doesn't mean we had 257 in the room at one time, because people will register for day one or day two or a couple seminars or the meal, that sort of thing. But yeah, we had to move to a new space to get more room. We moved our exhibitor space up from 40 to 50, so a 20% increase. We still sold out in February.
Wow.
And we're at roughly 200 registered attendees already, and our cap this year is will be 325.
Wow.
So, and I'm pretty confident in saying that we've got over a month left, and we're well ahead of last year's pace for registered attendees, where we ended up with 257. But I'm confident we'll end up with over the 300. And next year, I can say in 2024, we are going to go back to the convention center again. But we have negotiated an increase in space again, so we can take the exhibitors up to from 50 to 60 next year and see how it goes. So it's just a matter of space, and we're at that size where trying to find a hotel is almost impossible. But then trying to combine a convention center in some cases is almost a little too big. So we're in that in between area where we're trying to find the best space to sit. So I think Hamilton's going to work out well. The hotel's right across the street from the convention center.
That's good.
Connected by a walkway if it's raining, so you don't even have to go outside. And I think we'll have lots of value for everybody.
Yeah, maybe you can take out the stadium, and we can just have a hockey game the first night after the alcohol, which I think is going to be entertaining. Boston.
Yeah, well, the Comps Coliseum is right next to the hotel. Unfortunately, it's under major renovations. They've kicked all their tenants out, so they probably won't let us in.
Yeah, that might be maybe for the future. You'll grow to that for sure. I want to ask the bursaries you have. How do people get involved with that? I've seen. I know a number of people who have won them. Every year you guys announce someone new that gets one. But how does somebody get involved with the bursaries? Like, what do they have to do? Do they have to be working for a private carrier, or how does that work?
Yeah, so it depends on the bursary or the award. So really, the bursaries that we have are the Young Leaders Group Education Bursary, sponsored by 10 Street. We have two, and it gives you two courses through CITT. That we pay for, which is roughly a $2,000 value. So the two that we give out, one of them, we have the Mohawk Supply Chain Student Program, which is now also sponsored by 10 Street. It's a partnership between ourselves and Mohawk, and 10 Street sponsoring it, where we select up to 5 students per year out of their supply chain management program. And we provide them a 1-year free membership in our association. We connect them with a mentor, take them out to industry events, take them to the conference, introduce them to everybody. So one of the bursary awards is eligible to only one of those 5 students.
Okay.
And then the second bursary award is available to somebody who is either a member of the PMTC or as a family member of a member of the PMTC. Okay. And basically, we open the awards up every year, generally on February 1st, and they have until April 30th to apply. So they go to our website at pmtc.ca and click on awards. The entries are down now, but people can still go in there and look at what the criteria is and how they fill it out. The driver training scholarship, same thing. They either have to be working for a PMTC member company or be a family member of somebody who works for a PMTC member company. And then they can apply for the AZ training bursary, which is sponsored by KRTS, and it's about a $10,000 touch if you tried to get that on your own. So that's how you get involved in those. That's kind of the same way you get involved in the rest of our. Yeah, when they open, you have to go in and look.
They're good programs. They're really good programs. And I know I spoke. I don't know if the students realize how much bang they got for their buck. I interviewed them last year, and they were on my television show. They were on the podcast. They've been, and so I met a couple at what was it? Well, they were at TTSA. What was the last one? We were at NRR, National Recruiting and Retention.
Yes.
And I said, I'll be coming to talk with you at PMTC. And I don't think they knew what they were getting into. So we'll see.
Well, last year we had 4 students in the program, because like I said, we take a maximum of 5.
Yeah.
But we don't take 5 every year. This year we have 3.
Okay.
We want to make sure this program is a success, and there's a lot of work these students have to do. They have to fill out resumes, applications. They have to work with a mentor. And, if they don't have the time or commitment to do it, then we don't want them to be part of the program, because the goal is to get them hired by PMTC member companies,
right,
or get hired in the industry. Well, if we get students in there who aren't committed, and then we have a bad experience with one of our employers, it then makes it harder on the rest of the students, right? But so we had 4 last year, and thanks for all the interviews you did with them, Bruce. And I can tell you they were appreciative, and they knew what they got out of the program, and they all spoke glowingly about the conference, where several of our board of director members went up and talked to them, sat at the table with them, introduced them to the industry. All 4 of the ones from last year are working in the industry. 3 of them are working with PMTC member companies because of the connection they made at the conference.
Nice.
And we're hoping that the 3 that are there this year will find the same type of experience.
Yeah, I know there's one that reached out to me again over LinkedIn to ask questions. He was working in the industry, and I think he was talking about possibly moving somewhere. I gave him Mike Aaron's number. I'm not sure how well that's going to go, but anyway, I'll leave that. We'll leave Mike out of it for sure. But no, he was asking a question about something, and it was Mike's field. So I said, hey, you might want to ask him about it. But that's the power of the power of the industry, is that if we don't know the answer, we know somebody who does have the answer. I think it's great. It was good to see them there. I know at the PMTC conference last year, there was a couple people that were training. One of them was at one of the member schools for TTSAO and came out just to see what it was like. And I thought, boy, you're the smart one here. You're making connections that nobody else would make in the industry unless you're at a conference, right? So
for sure.
That's good.
Yeah, it's a good investment. And I didn't mention that either, but as part of our annual general meeting, which is for members and invited guests only, we're actually going to have a panel moderated by Marilyn Serber from 10th Street, who is the sponsor of that program. And we're going to have one mentor, one student from last year that was part of the program, one student from this year that was part of the program, and the administrator from Mohawk College up there on the panel to talk about how the partnership got going, the benefits, that sort of thing. So I think for our members and invited guests, it would be a good one to get out to learn a bit more about this program and how they can get involved in it themselves if they want to.
Yeah.
And Mike McCarron, you dropped his name there, so he is on our past, present, and future panel at the conference. Right. I won't say which one he is.
Definitely pass.
I didn't say that, Bruce. I didn't say that.
I know.
No, Mike's a good guy and has lots of knowledge, as we all know.
Yeah. I was at an event not too long ago through the Hamilton Transportation Club. I don't think you were there, but
I wasn't. No.
They had the administrator, I believe it was the administrator for the Mohawk College program, and I tried to get him, but I was doing camera and I got dragged off to do some photos with the team, and he left. So I'm hoping he's going to be the one at your conference, because I wanted to.
Not the one on the panel, but they are going to have a booth at our conference with different people coming. So he might be there as part of their booth.
Well, he was very excited about working with the transportation. Is kind of the message I was trying to get here, is that he was saying, I don't know if he realized that, and I know the work that you guys are doing. And I think Gene from the Transportation Club was also invited him or whatever, but he was very excited about working with the transportation group. And as he met us, I think he was getting more excited. So that's good, right? We're starting to get the local community more involved, which is what we need to do. Are the private fleets still having issues hiring people? I mean, they never used to, but I know last conference there was a lot of recruiting talk. Is that still a problem?
Yeah, I think it has subsided a little bit right now, because we're in, as much as people don't like to say it, we're in a bit of a freight recession.
Yep.
Right. We have seen layoffs, we have seen bankruptcies, we've seen more of that south of the border than we have north of the border, I'd say. But we are in a bit of a recession. But so some carriers aren't having an issue with it. There's some of our private fleet members that are having significant issues with it. So it depends on the type of lanes you're in, the type of business you're in, and to be honest, the region of the country you're in. So there is still a shortage. I think our peak, according to Trucking HR Canada, was about 28,500, and I believe that shortage is down to about 24,000 now. So it has subsided, and I'm going to guess it's not because a lot of new people have entered the industry. It's just there's some of the jobs have gone by the wayside, but If people are smart, even if they're not having trouble getting drivers right now, and like I said, some of our members still are for sure. It's a good percentage of it. Even if you're one of the carriers that isn't struggling to get drivers right now, you better not rest on your laurels, because the economy will turn around as it always does, and then the shortage issue is going to be right back in the forefront again if it isn't already for us.
Yeah, and it's gone crazy everywhere. It's a very weird mix. It's like slow and busy at the same time. It's gonna be a bit crazy, but I think it's a great. Your conference is one of the better ones that I've seen. I like the way it's laid out. I like the awards. That's probably my favorite. But just the people in the room. I used to work for a private carrier, so I kind of know the type of person that they're not trucking necessarily. They're kind of trucking / whatever else they do, and so they bring a different take to the industry than what we see at a lot of other conferences where it's just about recruiting and that kind of thing. They kind of have other issues that they're working with.
Yeah, and when we put in, thanks for that, Bruce. Well, when we put it together, I used to be a fleet manager, as you know. I used to be a driver. When I was a fleet manager, most people in the trucking industry are pretty busy. Yeah. And when I was a fleet manager, if I'm going to take off for a day and a half or 2.5 days to go to a conference, as much as I like my drinks and my socializing, there's got to be some education about it. Yeah. Right? If I don't have time to just go, have some free drinks and network with people. I need to. My day is too busy to take 2.5 days out of it. I'm not going to find something there of value bring back to my carrier and bring back to the job. So with that fleet background, I think what I've always tried to do, and what the board has always tried to do, is we try to build this on education and recognition, right? Recognizing the people of the industry, but then putting together a good value of education that people can learn something that they can take back to their job and help them out. Because like I said, I think people are too busy to just leave for 2.5 days to shake hands and have some drinks. Right? So that's the way we tried to build. We don't pay for speakers.
Right.
We don't do that. We have enough expertise in the industry and enough people that have been in this industry for years. Most of them are own members who have been drivers, dispatchers, running a fleet, safety and compliance, training schools, insurance. We've got all that knowledge in our industry, and they're willing to share it. We do a call for presentations, and these guys and gals submit to speak at our conference to get in front and share their knowledge. And a lot of times I think you get a better educational value when you're not paying somebody $10,000 to do it. Right. They're there sharing that knowledge because they want to, not because that's their job. Right. Yeah. So, we got 11 topics. Will all those 11 topics suit everybody? No, but I'm sure everybody can pick 3 or 4 or 5 of them and get those value. So that's, and one thing I like to say is, if you don't like all the topics, or you wonder why you didn't get submitted, I don't pick them. We put out a call for presentations, and we have a conference committee that selects this. We get about 5 volunteers, and I think that's the best way to do it. Just because, 1, the pressure isn't on one person. 2, you get 5 different perspectives, and you might get different topics that you might not if just 1 or 2 people were picking them, right? Because we're all kind of swayed toward one way or another, right? So you get 4 or 5 people in a room discussing which topic should be part of your conference. Gives you more variety because you got all those different perspectives that are coming from different fields.
Yeah. And I used to work for a private carrier, and I was in charge of the fleet. And to be honest with you, the information we got was from our own internal safety team, if you will, and they were in the States. So they were giving us tracking information. I didn't know about PMTC when I was doing that, but I mean, that would have been where I would want to go as a supervisor, because I was kind of not making up safety, but making up the kind of topics based on our team. And a lot of our stuff was not necessarily the driving part, but more the chemical delivery part of it. But still, stuff like PMTC, the carriers that are there are not necessarily, like you said before, they're not necessarily there. They're in trucking by default. So they're not really worried about they might be worried about road check, let's say, but they're not worried about it so much that, oh, they can't afford tires and how do we get around the scales. They're just wanting to know the information of what they need to do. And, you know, they usually have a corporate background that's willing to make sure that everything is right on the trucks or whatever. So I find it's a different take on information than what you see other places. And, you know, you and I are both part of a lot of the association. So, you know, it's a different thing. So keep that up, because I think that's what makes you guys very unique and different. Thank you.
And then, yeah, I would agree. Like you said, you know, if you work for hire carrier, you will have a recruiting department, a HR department, a you know, safety and compliance department, but you know, they're dedicated to nothing but transportation, because that's all they do. If you have a human resource department in a private fleet, the trucking is just one part of their business, right? They also have the office employees, the warehouse employees, and HR encompasses it all. So they might not be specialized in one area. Your fleet safety and compliance individual may have a lot of knowledge, but they probably don't have an entire fleet safety department like you'll see it for hire, right? They'll have a team of people and they'll know what they're doing, and safety records that we have within our fleets proves that. But they may also be responsible to look after the warehouse in some way. They might also be responsible for looking after your drivers in some way. So you're right. There's so many different aspects to a private fleet, so many different types of business. You usually wear more than one hat.
Yeah, ours always started at the door. When we got to the customer, they didn't even care about the trucking. Everybody they hired had like 10 years more experience. So we're not worried about how you're going to get it to the door. We're worried about when you get to the door, how are you going to deliver it safely wherever it had to go. And so that was kind of the mindset, which is a little different than a for hire carrier, where we need to make sure that you get it on the truck and get it safely. We all want to be safe, but you know, it's the kind of the more of the I know we're more the customer service side of it than a lot of for hire fleets. You know, uniforms and how you greet the receivers and all that kind of stuff. So you got a bunch of other stuff coming up. I know there's a golf tournament every week in PMTC. I'm not even sure what we're now, but
not every week. There's 2 a year, one in the spring, one in the fall.
One's coming up. Isn't it the end of May or something that's coming up?
Yeah, May 30th. It's at Carlisle Golf and Country Club in the, I believe it's in the Milton area. Well, it's in Carlisle, but between Milton and Hamilton area. We have one foursome left if anybody's interested. We've got 140 golfers registered, and we got room for one more foursome. So if anybody wants to come out, they're more than welcome. We get it's free buffet. I shouldn't say free. You're paying a registration fee. It's $250 a player, but that gets you a registration gift, full buffet breakfast, a couple free drinks of Molson Coors products, as they donate 10 cases of beer to the golfers out there, that people can have a couple free beverages on them. We always like that. There's and then there's a lunch afterwards that is included in that registration, full buffet lunch as well. And then every golfer gets a prize as well. So good value, good day of networking with private fleet members and their suppliers. So, I've been out in the past. It's been a good day. I'm going to be at Expo Cam in Quebec, so I will. Okay, I'm gone for that weekend. That's why I'm not there, but it'll be good. So I'll be back for the conference. So where do we go to learn more, Mike? What should we do? I know you've often said, you know, even if there's no booth, you still have sponsorships. If two people are planning on, you know, registering, you might better to come as a sponsor, right? Is that still the case? Well, yeah. So if you're a member, let's say, obviously I'm biased, but I think we have one of the most affordable conferences around. If you're a member, it's $540 to register for all 2.5 days. If you're a non-member, it's $640, and that includes your cocktail reception on day one. It includes a cocktail reception on day two. It includes lunch and supper on day two, and it includes breakfast on the morning of day three. That's all included in your price, and all the educational conferences. But if you are thinking of sending a couple people, our silver sponsorship package is, I believe it's $1,300. Well, if you're sending two people, that's $1,080. Yeah. And 2 free registrations are included in your silver sponsorship. Right. So even though you can't get a booth for an extra $240, basically, you get your name on all our signage and on the banners and in our literature as being a supporter of the conference. So basically, for a couple $100, you can be recognized if you're sending two people anyway.
That's good.
But if they go to our website, pmtc.ca, click on events, you'll see our annual conference there, and it's got the full agenda. You can register right from that link if you want to go, and then it's got a click for sponsorship info, which you can reach out to Annette at our office if you have any interest. Cutoff date for our group rate of hotels is May 28th. So if people want to make sure they're in the hotel right across from the conference center, you probably want to register within the next couple of weeks before that cutoff date hits. We'll be taking registration right up to the 19th of June. It's just there's no guarantee you're going to get a hotel room right across. You might have to go further, a bit further away to get a different hotel. So.
Yeah, I'm not sure what else is around. I live 10
minutes. Yeah, there is a few spots within 5 minutes, 5 or 10 minutes.
All right, good. Well, I'm 10 minutes away. I guess I could rent out my place. I don't think that's good.
You can do bed and breakfast.
There you go. Mostly breakfast. Anyway, well, listen, Mike, thanks for being on. So everybody go to pmtc.ca to register. Always good. It's an amazing conference, amazing value. So highly recommend everybody get out there and join us. All right. We'll be there.
All right. Well, thanks, Bruce. Thanks for your support. And thanks for everything you do to promote this, and look forward to seeing you at our conference. You'll be there filming it, of course, and covering it.
That's right. Got to make sure we get the word out there. For sure.
Yeah.
Thanks again, Mike. Appreciate it. Hey, drivers, are you getting tired of trying to update that old PDF paper resume that you have? You want to apply to different companies. Maybe you want to show off some of the stuff you've had, like the trucks you've driven or pictures or whatever. You know what? You can't do that on a resume anymore, but you can do that at Driver Verified. Driver Verified is a platform that allows you to create your own unique profile and share your expertise easily with potential employers, insurance companies, anybody that you wish. This thing is so slick. You'll be able to update it. It's free to try. And you know what? Now you've got something that can be updated. You don't have to go back and wonder, where did you put that paper copy? The cool thing is companies can get this as well. And you know what? One of the best ways to find new employment and find things that are really cool for you is by a company searching you out as opposed to you searching out a company. So why not try Driver Verified today? All you got to do is go to driververified.com and give it a try. It's free to try. You can create a free profile and you can even get a free report. And by the way, if you were talking to the team over at Driver Verified, make sure you tell them that the Lead Pedal podcast sent you. All right, everybody. Talk to you soon. See you on the road. All right, so if you're somebody who either works with private fleets or would just like to get some great information on that conference, go to pmtc.ca. It's trending to sell out. If it's not sold out already, if you're listening to this the day of, I think the hotel slots are done, are finished as far as the early bird pricing goes, and you may want to make sure that you get in there for sure. The event is always sold out. It's a really well-attended event, and everybody really enjoys their time there. So check that out. Check out all their other stuff they've got. They've got golf tournaments. They do seminars on a regular basis to update people. A lot of that is free for you to attend. And if you are interested in working with people at the private fleets, then this is a great place to meet them. The networking is amazing, and we always have a really good time. So hopefully you'll join us there. Lead Pedal Media will be there for sure to let you know what's going on and cover the event for you. And we enjoy talking with a lot of people. We do a lot of interviews there with the people who have won the awards and all of that. So it's a really fun time for everybody. So check it out if you can. It's reasonably. I believe their sponsorship is sold out as far as table availability, but you can always be a sponsor. And if you're bringing a couple people anyway, it's well worth it. So check out pmtc.ca and all the stuff they've got. They've got a young leaders group, which is really good for somebody who's getting into the logistics industry and trying to learn more and network. That's probably one of the big pieces for that. So check that out at pmtc.ca. Hey, make sure you remember we've moved, our apps are no longer available Lead Pedal Radio, we moved it over to Mixcloud.com. They have their own app over there. So go to download the Mixcloud app at Mixcloud.com or on your app store, and then just search for Lead Pedal Radio, and you can get our programming there. That all changed mid-May there is when it changed, and we've got a big announcement coming up for June, so make sure you stay tuned to that. And of course, our podcast is on wherever you listen to your podcast is where we are for sure. All right, so we'll see you at the PMTC later on in June, and have a great day. Bye for now.
This has been another episode of the Lead Pedal Podcast. For more information or to subscribe to the podcast, visit theleadpedalpodcast.com, and be sure to follow the podcast on Facebook and Twitter.